Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in the tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's in me. It ain't on me. So creative like I made Adobe. I've been balling like I played with Kobe.
What's the deal? What's the deal? We back again, PolitiKan a podcast. We got a slew of topics to get into, man. First topic, man, this NBA offseason. Who you think had the best NBA offseason? Of course, we had the Bradley Beal blockbuster to kick it all off. Then we got the James Harden debacle. It looks like the LA Clippers are the front runners to land James Harden. Should they actually pull the trigger and trade for James Harden? Running back Dalvin Cook. He is a free agent after being released from the Vikings. What team should he go to? He definitely will make a big difference on whatever team he chooses. So what team is Dalvin Cook going to go to? Hip-hop, for the first time in 30 years, does not have a number one Billboard top charting song. So this has to be one of the worst years for hip-hop in the last 50 years, as if we celebrate 50 years of hip-hop. But this is the first year in 30 years that we don't have a number one Billboard record. And a white substance, probably cocaine, has been found in the White House. So we find white girl in the White House. Crazy. Let's get to these topics, man. What's the deal? What's the deal? We got Yao, we got Amrock in here. What's the deal, people?
What's going on? What's going on?
What up?
Shit, man. So let's get to this first topic, man. So we got to get to this NBA free agency. What team do you guys think had the best moves in this year's offseason free agency and just offseason period?
I think it depends on what objective you're going for, right? As in, the game of basketball is about winning championships, so therefore that should be the main goal. My opinion, I think the Phoenix Suns did an excellent job of that. I mean, CP3, he was good, but nobody likes to say it, but CP3 is injury prone. He is never there when you kind of sort of, yeah, that's my boy right there. Okay, we get to that in a little bit. Yeah. But Phoenix Suns, they get Bradley Beal, right? They keeping Devin Booker, they're keeping Kevin Durant. They still got Aiden. They picked Watanabe, whatever his name is. He was cool for the Nets. They pick up Eric Gordon as well. You know, they keep Josh Orgy or whatever his name is that played for the Minnesota Timberwolves too. So they kept keeping their bench a little bit. Now I think they should go get like Christian Woods to help out their bench a little more. But overall, if you're going off of who made moves to help them in the championship way, go towards the championship, I would say the Phoenix Suns. You know, you already showed my boy Derrick Rose. What the Memphis Grizzlies have been missing is veteran leadership. And so 25 games really don't mean anything. You can lose 25 games straight and still make the playoffs, especially nowadays with the play-in. So they got Marcus Smart. They picked up my boy Derrick Rose. No better teacher to teach John Morant how to utilize that athletic point guard power than one of the most athletic point guards to ever play the game, right? And teach them, hey, you can't just rely on your athleticism. You need to get a jump shot as well. So you got that. But if you ain't going like title-wise of moves, and then you got like the Lakers and stuff that just kept their pieces. The Bucks kept their pieces. So if you ain't going off of that, then you got to go Houston Rockets. I mean, they got Fred VanVleet. Like, ain't nobody thought. And they picked up, what's his name? Dalen Brooks as well. So they picked, I know there's one more person that they got, and the person just keeps flying off my head. But the Rockets, even though it's not like title contending, the Rockets have just made some great moves and great pieces where, give it a couple years, the Rockets are going to do the same things that the Sacramento Kings did. They're going to come out of nowhere, and you're going to be like, where did they come from? And it's because they built it. Those are my picks.
Yeah, I think with Phoenix adding Bradley Beal, just another example of, okay, Durant, you need, the Monstars, on your team to win a championship. I don't know. We'll see how Chris Paul works. I don't know if I guess the plan is to bring him off the bench, or I don't know what that deal is. Porzingis to Boston, I think that was very huge. Porzingis improved last year, especially with the down year with the Wizards, but still he had a great season. Dallas Mavericks come to mind as well. I know, everybody's still not high on Kyrie and Luka playing side by side, but they did add Seth Curry, some shooting, and they just got, I think his name is Williams from the Celtics. So they added, some forward power, so to speak, down low to help those guys. So I think, Mark Cuban's still not done, probably making some moves. He might pull out DeMarcus Cousins with Dwight Howard from somewhere, who knows. I'm still waiting on the Dame Lillard. Wherever he lands up, I think, especially if it's in Miami, I think it's going to be huge. Like y'all said, Milwaukee stayed packed. The Lakers pretty much stayed packed. They added some decent pieces though, but they stayed packed with just LeBron and AD. Sacramento's definitely still, I think they learned a lot from this experience last year, and they will be better. So yeah, I mean, I would probably have to say I like what Dallas did. Of course, Memphis getting D Rose and Marcus Smart was huge. We'll see. Memphis just seemed like that's, with the health and all of that's normally Memphis's issue, really. Same thing with Milwaukee, with their health. Now they got the Lopez brothers up there. Most of the league, most of the time it's about health. Who's going to be healthy come playoff time? The camaraderie of the team. That's what I'm worried about with Phoenix. That's what normally everybody worries about with the Kevin Durant team. Again, when he went to Golden State, all he had to do was just slide right in, like in Brooklyn and now in Phoenix, we're going to see, like, can you really pull a team together? And again, he needs, all of the Hall of Famers on his team to win. So, you got it now, KD. Again, you have it again. So let's see what you do with it. Because regardless, it stops with KD in Phoenix. I don't care. You bring Bradley Beal in. And Bradley Beal, can he stay healthy as well? We'll see. But I'm trying to think of any other major moves. Yeah, I'm still waiting on Dame to Miami. I really, really hope that, because he fits so perfectly, and that's exactly what they needed. Not to say that they would have still beaten Denver, but at least maybe 6 or 7 games possibly with Dame on that squad. So him going there, I think it's just going to be Boston and Miami again in the conference finals, and that would be crazy, especially with Boston picking up Porzingis. So, so we'll see.
I heard Boston's in the running for Dame too.
Yeah, I heard that as well, which was
for Jaylen Brown.
To me, no, they're trying to keep Jaylen Tatum.
That's why they got rid of that. That's why they got rid of Williams.
Yeah, they're trying to keep Jaylen Brown. So, and they're trying to give up who's the other big dude with the dreads or the braids? I forget his name.
Robert Williams.
Yeah, they trying to possibly send him with a whole bunch of picks because Portland does need a big man since they drafted what's his name? Scoot
Henderson.
Yeah,
Scoot
he's
Henderson.
gonna be their guy going forward. So they need big men and shooters. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to see Dame in ball. I want to see him in Miami. He's, with the black jersey on, like that. Dame with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler that's that dog. Dame is that dog too. People just don't they really don't see it because he's in Portland. And what did they do? They made it to the conference finals, I believe, a couple years ago. He guided them there somehow. So he's capable of doing it. And I appreciate Dame for wanting to stay and trying to give them a chance to figure it out. But obviously they just can't. So, it is what it is. So I hope that they figure it out and get him to Miami. I think that would be huge. But yeah, I would probably say, Dallas comes to mind, wherever Dame lands up. Phoenix, we'll see. We'll see with Bradley. I mean, Denver's still out there. Sacramento's still out. These are complete teams. You can't always just pull a team together and it just miraculously comes together. It didn't. Even everybody loves to, talk about LeBron, but it didn't even for him that first year in Miami. So, these are facts. So, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that the Porzingis thing is going to work out for Boston. So I think Boston kind of either is going to hit a home run or they're going to strike out. And I think that this Porzingis thing was definitely a risk. It's very risky, but you got to try to win it all. So I get it. The Bradley Beal move, you got a new ownership, and the ownership is clearly trying to state that they're trying to win, and they're trying to win now. Chris Paul to the Warriors really still don't make no sense to me, but they had to get Jordan Poole's contract out of there, and Chris Paul's only one year rental. So I don't know. I'm surprisingly have to say the Lakers, and I'm a Laker hater, man, but the Lakers found a way to keep all their players, D'Lo, Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and they added Cam Reddish and Gabe Vincent. I don't know how the hell the Lakers pulled this shit off, but the Lakers seem to keep everybody and get a couple pieces. So Rob Pelinka did his shit. They were just in the Western Conference Finals. So, the Lakers staying packed and actually keeping that roster going into the season. And with Gabe Vincent, that point guard. So when D'Lo, you got to sit the bench. LeBron can't be that facilitator that he used to be. So now you got a true point guard that can go out there and actually run, instead of having Schroeder out there. So I think the Lakers definitely upgraded. But is it enough to win a championship? No. So ultimately, it ain't going to matter. But I still think
the Clippers scared?
The Lakers had the.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
But it's so far.
Are the Clippers scared?
The Clippers aren't scared. You know why? Because we're in the running for James Harden. We are the front runners, and it looks like we about to add James Harden. We brought Russell Westbrook back, and now it looks like we are the front runners to get James Harden. The good thing about this is that James Harden is on a contract in which he is not eligible for a new contract. So he has to play out this year. So we don't have to pay him next year if it doesn't work out. We got a bunch of expiring contracts like Robert Covington and other bums that never see the court for us anyway. So to get rid of those expiring contracts, like a Marcus Morris that fell out of the rotation really until late into the playoffs, I mean, I feel like we can get rid of those contracts, get rid of those draft picks that are in like 2028 and get a James Harden rental for 1 year. And, he reunited with Durant, and that didn't work out. But you remember in OKC, he was on the bench and he left to Houston because Russell Westbrook. So, and now the roles will be opposite because James will be the point guard and Russell will be coming off the bench for James. What's your thoughts on this?
You hear this, Amrock?
I do.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead, y'all.
I got a question for you, Kalen.
What's up?
Your topic title says, should the Clippers trade for James Harden? The 76ers aren't giving up James Harden for nothing. Who are you guys giving them?
James Harden already refused to play for them. So by him demanding the trade, he opted in and demanded a trade. So if you understand this, they're even if James Harden chooses to come in fat, lazy like he did in Brooklyn, they have to get rid of him by the trade deadline or lose him for nothing.
But why would they trade him to y'all?
Because we're the best suitor. We got to. They thinking of people that can help them now and come off the books next year. And if they can get a couple shooters and some draft picks, then they definitely will come off James Harden.
So y'all don't have enough now. Again,
no,
y'all have compared to the
don't.
Lakers, compared to the Lakers who only have AD and LeBron.
Back.
Y'all have Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and Kawhi Leonard. And you talk about bums that stay on the court. Not to say that Kawhi is a bum, but can he? That's really been y'all's issue.
Don't forget
that's really been
and y'all got Zubac.
Is Kawhi's health. That is it. That's really been the only issue for the Clippers. Kawhi,
y'all gonna have more players than the Phoenix Suns.
That is.
I don't know, man. I just feel like
I don't need.
We can get rid of
James.
We
Harden
can get rid
will
of
come
some
in there and destroy that culture, man. Like that's.
Man.
Nah, like y'all shouldn't want James Harden. No, y'all should want somebody like Dame or somebody, not James Harden, if anybody. No,
we're gonna have to give up a king's ransom for Dame. We won't
it
have
sounds
to give
like
up
y'all
much.
That's a better risk than James.
We
Harden.
won't have to give up much, and just like we got Russell on the vet minimum for a 2-year contract, we can also re-sign Harden because he thought that his market was bigger than he is. And the truth is, he will no longer have that big market. So if we get him for this 1-year rental and he realizes where he's at, and this is his best chance to win the championship since he ain't going to get no more big paydays, then he's home in LA, just like Russell. And a lot of people will want to go home and have a chance to win the championship.
My other question is, would you not trade Paul George for Dame Lillard?
No, I would not. No, I would not.
I'm going to ask that question again. You ain't trading Paul George that hasn't done nothing for you for Dame Lillard that hasn't even had another star.
No,
and
I would
he's
not.
still taking his team to the Western Conference Finals.
No, I would not, because if he comes over here, there's no way that there's only one ball, man. And y'all swear that everybody could, but when you have a point guard that is the top scorer, then Dame has never been a facilitator. So putting Dame in a position where he has to defer to someone else, Kawhi is alpha dog. So if you bring him in, he's going to have to defer to Kawhi. That's not where he's going to be best. Just like Amrock pointed out, him with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler only pulls out these 30, 40-point games in the playoffs on a regular night. Jimmy giving you 16 to 24 points. So him stepping in and being an alpha dog in Miami is perfect. It's exactly what they need. But on the Clippers, with Kawhi being an alpha dog, even to get rid of Paul George is playing the Robin role perfectly. He's accepted it. And to get a star to accept that Robin role is probably one of the hardest things. This is why James Harden is in the position that he's in now, is because he can't accept the Robin role. Russell Westbrook has finally accepted it.
I got one more.
What is it?
So, going off of what you just went off of, Dame and how he needs the ball in his hand and everything like that. My other question is, when was the last time James Harden was relevant? When he was with the Rockets, right?
No, he was relevant this year because he was the leading assist leader on the MVP's team. He is still relevant. And you making it seem like James Harden was a bum. He wasn't. He was on
I'm not saying he was a bum. I'm saying, when do you know James Harden to be a facilitator?
The only reason that we're down on them is because 76ers didn't live up to the hype. And half of that is Doc Rivers'
James Harden's fault.
Doc Rivers is a terrible coach. He don't draw up nothing in clutch, and he just lets shit go. He don't call timeouts when the teams is coming back. He blows leads. How many series has he been up and lost them? This is his history, and this is why he doesn't have a team now.
So would you get rid of Kawhi for Dame?
Yes. Yes,
So
I
you get
would.
rid of Kawhi Leonard.
I feel like
I was
I
gonna
feel
go
like
there too. I would say
I feel
Kawhi
like
is
we
better.
have more life on the tires with Paul George, and he's already accepted a Robin role. So for us to swap out Kawhi for Dame for our megastar, I would do that in a heartbeat. Yes, I would.
Would you switch out Kawhi for James Harden?
Hell
Because
no.
that's what it looks like they're gonna want from you.
No, they don't want James Harden. You got to understand, Philly is not asking for this big compensation package. They didn't want to renew and pay James Harden, and that's why he opted in, because he had no market. He thought that he was going to get all these offers in free agency. He tested the market, and nobody wanted his ass. So he's going to go out there, and he got to get 12, 15 million in free agency, but he can get 35 million if he opts in. So of course he opts in, and he understands the dynamic of the game is that they gave up a lot to get him there. So to lose him in free agency to nothing would be a loss for the return on an investment. They would lose on investing in getting James Harden because they didn't get to the championship, and then he left for nothing. So if he requests a trade by the trade deadline to get some return on their investment, they're going to get rid of him. So if you're going to get rid of him by the trade deadline, then you might as well shop him now.
Yeah,
it's a business. It's a business first.
The question at him, right? Should the Clippers trade for James Harden? Absolutely not. I don't know. Unless you plan on shipping Kawhi out to Philly, which they are not planning on doing. I think, doesn't Kawhi have a no trade? I'm not sure, but
no one has a no trade clause. Bradley Beal was the last one.
Bill, he was the last one. Okay, so yeah, I still wouldn't do that. James Harden needs to stay right in Philly and figure it out. Stop moving around. Same thing for like all these players. Stop moving around, and then there's no purpose around moving around. Listen, I'm not a. Everybody loves to appoint me as the LeBron kissing ass, LeBron, whatever. But at the end of the day, when LeBron moved around, he won championships. A lot of these guys are constantly moving around, and nothing is really panning out. Nothing is really happening. And James Harden is the latest example of that. Try to stay somewhere and figure it out. At this point, you got one of the best big men in the game, if not, one B behind Jokic. That's Joel Embiid. Try to figure it out. I think Philly's going to put pieces around. They've been trying to do that, since Embiid got there. Ben Simmons and then Butler was there. Like, they've been trying to put pieces around Joel Embiid. And the James Harden piece, yes, you're absolutely right. He was not a bum this year. But at this point, with James Harden, with Kevin Durant, with these type of guys, we're measuring them based on what they do in the playoffs. We don't care about the regular season with Jay. He's won an MVP. He's shown he can do it in the regular. What are you going to do in the playoffs? And every single time he's been in the playoffs, when the moment mattered, he has failed, plain and simple. And that's what we're thinking about every time now with James Harden. What do you do in the playoffs? Period. That's why Dame is trying to go to it, because he wants y'all to see again what he wants to remind y'all what he can do in the play. He just hasn't had the squad. James Harden has had the squad and had the moments where he could have helped that team succeed, and he did not do it. This was the time. Do y'all not realize, like, they had, like, everybody was talking about, oh, they got to go against Boston and then Milwaukee. Well, the Heat took out Milwaukee. So all y'all had to do was really get past Boston, and y'all still couldn't do that. And it went to 7 games. Y'all still couldn't do it. Why? Because James Harden's having 13-9 games. And, oh, I'm a facilitator. You get paid $35 million. That is not facilitator money. Period. You have to be, if not 1A behind Joel, you have to be 1B, James Harden. I'm sorry. And people are measuring you based off that. To me, it doesn't seem like he cares. He just, kind of on a no diss, but kind of on a Carmelo tip. I want my money. Like, hey, if I win a championship, so be it. If I don't, I got paid. That's kind of where it seems like James Harden is going with all of this. Like, what team is going to fit? Like, it seemed like you just want somebody to baby him, kind of like what they did in Houston, just cater to him and give him everything that he wants. He didn't get that in Brooklyn. He wanted out immediately. Now he feels like he's not getting that in Philly, especially from Doc Rivers. And speaking of Doc Rivers, yeah, look, yes, he hasn't had success in a long time, but he does have something over James Harden. He does have a championship. Let's not forget that, right? Yes, he had to have a big three come together in Boston, but they still had to win, and they did it. And that was actually a big three that did it in their first year together. So, Doc Rivers, yeah, I mean, I get it. Lately, he hasn't been the best, and they moved him out. So, again, now James Harden, what's your excuse? They got rid of the guy who was apparently you were clashing heads with. It didn't seem like you had a issue with Joel Embiid or Tobias Harris or Maxey or these other guys. It seemed like the issue was with Doc Rivers. They got rid of him. Now you still want to leave? What is it? What is it, James? Like, you just want to be back in Houston? Okay, but that didn't work with wins, right? I thought that's what this is about, winning. You were the guy in Houston by yourself, just like Dame was in Portland. You wasn't winning. You wanted out. Here it is. Here is your moment. You are playing with one of the best big men in the league. You and Jamal Murray got that pack. Jamal Murray playing with Jokic and just won a championship. Y'all should have been right there in the finals against them, straight up. That's
battling,
and that's what a lot of people want to stay. Want to see Joel and Jokic in the final, and Jamal Murray and James Harden go. That would be epic. So I don't get it with James Harden. I just don't understand. But the Clippers should not want though that. I'm not saying he's an issue. He's a problem. I don't know the man, but it just seems like he's too wishy-washy. Y'all shouldn't want that. Y'all should just stay packed with what y'all got, and hopefully Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy for y'all have a shot. It really comes down to Kawhi Leonard because y'all going to put pieces around him, Paul George, and Westbrook. Veterans going to want to come there and play. It's LA. It's with Kawhi. It's with Paul George. People going to want to put, just like people want to play, come and play for the Lakers, the Phoenix now, because of these guys are there. People going, but the question is, can Kawhi be healthy enough for us to have a chance? That's really what it comes down to with the Clippers.
It really does, man. I think that from a business standpoint, though, Ballmer is opening up this new arena. This is our last year in Staples Center. And I think that a lot of the moves are definitely based upon building some momentum and some hype behind the Clippers before making this move into their own arena. Because we got to be able to sell those season tickets. Because those season tickets are the things that drive through the revenue as far as their games. So Ballmer is going to have to make a splash. He's the richest owner in the league. And I think that he's going to spend no money. He's going to not care about the money. He's going to spend it all and try to get as many pieces as possible to try to get as far as we can this year to lead into next year going into our own arena. And if we can get a banner and then start in our own arena and hang it, as an owner, there's no bigger dream than that. And I think Ballmer will spend as much money and pull as much strings as he possibly can to try to make that dream come true. But let's get to the next topic, man. So we got to get to the NFL, man. So the running back position has been a position that we really have, a 2 to 4 year shelf life. We got people like Ezekiel Elliott that was once one of the premier running backs in the league, and he's out there with no job. And we got the Vikings releasing Dalvin Cook. So Dalvin Cook is a free agent. He's one of the top backs in the league. He's one of them 1,000 yards a year backs, and he's probably going to end up going to a contender, probably for less than what he wants to make, but with the chance to win a championship. I think that he's definitely going to pick a contender over the money. So where do y'all think Dalvin Cook should go, and where do you think that he will make the biggest difference so that he can, try to get that payday that he's looking for?
I heard that he trying to go to. I heard his preference ain't a contender at all. He trying to go to the Patriots. That's what I heard. Where he should go? I mean, I heard Miami's interested in him. Hey, I'm biased, so come to the Seahawks because we haven't had a real running back since Marshawn Lynch left, but maybe that throwing the ball instead of running the ball has scared every running back away from the Seahawks. So I understand that. But I don't think he's gonna be. I think it's a little different than him and Zeke. I mean, he's 4-time Pro Bowler, 1,000 yards. He's doing his thing. 8 touchdowns last year. You know, Zeke hasn't really been relevant lately. So, I heard Miami's after him. I think that would be a good place.
Yeah. Miami, the Jets, Ravens. I think he should come over to the AFC. One of those teams could utilize him. Where I think he'll end up, I think everybody, falls into the trap of going to the Cowboys, man. I don't know. I just feel like, somehow, some way they're going to lure him down there thinking that Dak's going to do it this year. And I don't know. And he'll get stuck down there too. But yeah, where he should go, Miami, New York Jets, Baltimore Ravens, Seattle. I didn't think about that. Was a good one, y'all. I didn't think about Seattle, but yeah, I mean, they could use him. Geno Smith, did his thing last year. That would be huge. But yeah, I mean, a player like him, yeah, you've been in the league. I forget how long he's been in the league now, but it seems like he wants to win. Like you say, it'll take less money, maybe, to prove himself, maybe possibly get another 2 or 3 year contract after this. Who knows? See what he'll do. But I think he might just fall into the trap or end up going to the Cowboys. I know, but I just, too many people have done that. The star and the, Dak and Romo, and they're going to do something. And no, they're not. They are not. Every year is the same thing. So, I don't know. But yeah, Miami is, Tua can stay. He's health is primarily the biggest thing with these athletes. Tua can stay healthy. They look very dangerous. If Aaron Rodgers can get it together in New York, they look very dangerous. If Lamar Jackson can stay healthy out here in Baltimore, they look very dangerous. So, of course, everything's predicated to health, but he could help those 3 teams or with Seattle as well. Geno Smith looked very good, and he has a good core of receivers too on the low. So like those 4 teams, I would say that's where he should go because he would fit and he's going to be a contender. Now, but all those 4 teams, 2 of them really, with Lamar and Tua, can those guys stay healthy? And then with Geno, it's just more so with the competition. How you going to do this year now? You're not sneaking up on nobody. How you going to do with that? Mm-hmm. That's why I think they should add a running game. And then with the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, everybody's talking Super Bowl, but you still got to go through Mahomes. You still got to go through that Burrow. Them 2 alone, Cincinnati and the Chiefs, I don't know how the Jets get past that, but adding a running game surely would go with that defense and what they're trying to do in New York. So I would say those 4 teams.
Hey, but if he ends up on the Ravens, though, they got
OBJ, Lamar.
That would be scary.
Yeah, I think that's his best bet if he really wants to win the championship. I think the Jets, it looks good on paper. It all sounds good, but it got to come together. Right. So everybody, Aaron Rodgers, it worked with Tom Brady, but Tom Brady took his whole coordinator offense, everything, right. and they installed Tom Brady's offense. Right. Now they got one of Aaron Rodgers' old coaches over there in New York, so maybe they're taking that same thought, saying, "Hey, it worked for Brady. Maybe it can work for Rodgers. He was just an MVP 2 years ago, so it's not like he's had that big of a fall off." Right. I just don't think that the Jets can really pull it off in 1 year. So I think that if I was him, I would try to go to Baltimore. I would go to Baltimore because Miami with the Tua and the concussion thing, if I go over there and he get one more concussion, now they're looking for a franchise quarterback again. Mm-hmm. And now I'm over here with a team with no franchise quarterback that could stack the box. And now I can't get my runs off like I'm used to. Now my numbers go down. Now I'm useless in the market. Now it all fell down. So I think go to Baltimore and establish yourself. And even if you don't get that big payday again, You know what I'm saying? At least you're on the team where you could keep contending, because usually after people win the Super Bowl, everybody gets paid after that. Well, let's get to this hip hop news, man. So, music has been very uninspiring for a while now. Half of these artists sound the same. It's the same flow. These beats, the selection, everything is so microwave and temporary. A lot of these songs now have to come with a TikTok so that it can go viral with a dance, because that's the only way that they're going to get enough streams to generate any revenue off of this music. So what are y'all thoughts on hip hop not having a number one hit for the first time in 30 years? We're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, but in the last 30 years, we've always had a number one charting record. What are y'all thoughts on us not having one, as the same time we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop?
I mean, most of the music out here isn't hip hop today. Hip hop is. I mean, yes, it's counterculture by definition, right? You're going against the grain, but it wasn't intended to be this. How can I put it? Like, for how people are utilizing it. A lot of young rappers, especially, they're just doing it to get on. They're just doing it to. And now a lot of some of them make it and are successful and still around, and people are listening to their music. But that wasn't hip hop. It was just about guys, again, taking it back, rapping in the park, or rapping about what's going on, or trying to put their city on. Now it's just, everybody's doing it. This isn't hip hop. I don't know what you would call this. Is hip hop or not hip hop? Because that's where it's really going. It's crossed within that pop, rock, techno genre. So this is its own new genre, what we're hearing today. I mean, you still got hip hop cats out there like Nas and J. Cole and Kendrick and all of those guys who are still hip hopped out, but the rest of them, this isn't hip hop. I would call it hip hop because it's crossed that at this point. The things that they're doing and the things that they're rapping about or talking about, everything down to their, like cover art and, just how they're expressing themselves, how they're just dropping singles and no albums really are coming out. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all, again, because it's, it's not hip hop to me. It's not even rap. Like, like Nipsey, all those guys was rap, like.
Yeah, it's more like singing, electro.
Yeah, that's why I say hip hop. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. Like,
you see, but everybody wants to end up on one of these Rolling Loud stages or one of these big festivals. So they're literally making music for the Rolling Loud crowd when essentially that crowd is not us. So
right.
because it's our culture, but we're not the target demographic. It's a contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, yeah?
I just want to ride. Bada yada yada.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie though. I like club music.
It goes hard.
Jersey and Baltimore, that's club music. I will admit that, but overall,
it goes
that's not hip hop.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. I love this song. I listen to the song all the time. Right, the beat's hot. Love it. But like Amrock said, that's not hip hop. I think it also goes back to, like, think about who has been considered the number one hip hop artist for like the last decade now. It's all about Drake, right?
Yep.
All about Drake.
Yep.
And what kind of album did Drake make?
Techno.
It was not a hip hop style album. It was techno. Didn't he say something that was for the yachts? Like, I did this for people that chill on the yacht. Like, what? So it's the change of the music, like how you guys are saying it's about trying to get into the festivals, trying to, hey, if your song ain't making somebody want to pop a molly or like go to an EDM and get drunk, wasted, and drugged out, then your song ain't hitting. And a lot of these artists aren't making classic music that goes beyond a couple years because I mean, think about it. The baby fell off, right? Then he got relevant again only because of TikTok of some freaking repo man repoing people's cars to his music. Like, it's the repo man made you relevant again.
Right.
That has something to say about where the stage of music at, and where like the real hip hop artists are like beefing with. I mean, freaking Pusha T's beefing with Jim Jones. Like, they ain't focused on making music. Pusha T's trying to just I'm going to battle rap everybody and eat them all up. I took out Drake. I'm taking out Dipset. I'm taking out everybody. He ain't worried about making no music, so that's, I don't know. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. But it also started with, like, I know Nicki Minaj is considered, I don't know. I mean, my girl's Missy. I love Missy. That's my person. But Nicki Minaj, most of her hit songs are not rap songs. Most of her hit songs were pop songs. And since she's considered a rap artist, then that made her one of the greatest female rappers selling artists. Like, no, you just took pop, called yourself a rap artist, and you just went on top of the pop chart. You ain't doing you ain't no MC Light. You ain't no Queen Latifah. You ain't like, I don't know. You ain't no Lauryn Hill. Like,
At all,
bro.
I don't know, man. This music, I can't say that I don't like some of it, but 90% of it, it's like when you go back and you listen to an album from 2006, like you go listen to Jeezy, you know what I'm saying? Thug Motivation 101. It's nothing like that comes out now that you think 20 years from now you're going to go play and it's going to hit harder, you know what I'm saying? Just as hard, if not harder, 20 years from now when you go back and play it. And I think that's why a lot of these, I don't know how it is over there, but in California, a lot of these R&B and throwback and 2000 day parties, that's the vibe now. Everybody's going back and everybody's partying to the old shit. And because we older now, we don't want to party in the middle of the night because at the nightclub scene, nobody dances. Everybody's in the club looking too fresh. Everybody's on the couches. Everything's sections. It's not even the dance floor anymore. So now everybody's into these day parties where it ain't no sections. It's just parties. It's just going up. You know, you got local performers coming out showing their talent. You got a lot of shit going on. So I think that today's climate is showing us that, you know, we don't really have a need or a want to listen to this new music, you know. And I think people like Snoop Dogg is genius for buying Death Row and getting Death Row's music streaming on DSPs. You know, people like Manny Fresh, he produced all of the Hot Boys albums. He produced every song. They just did a Tiny Desk with Juvenile. Manny Fresh produced every song on the Tiny Desk. And it's just letting you know that those songs are now on DSPs and are streaming. And now they're getting revenue from some shit they did 20 years ago because they own their intellectual property. And that shit is like masters now. You got to own your IP. And that's why we see PolitiKan right there. We see Brand of Encouragement right there. We see Blackwords Creators right there because we all own our IP and we understand today's climate. And that's why we all working towards building the things that we building. Well, let's get to this White House, man, because it's literally the White House because they find a white girl up in that thing, man. So I believe it was the West Wing of the White House. They found a white substance. They're not deeming it cocaine, but when you say you found a white substance, we know what it is. And I believe that the White House has like probably the best security system ever. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. They got to tell us who had the white girl because they ain't trying to name no culprits as far as who was in there with the cocaine. They found the cocaine. But why is it reported? And who was it that was using this cocaine? What's your thoughts on finding the cocaine in the White House, especially with Hunter Biden? I remember I watched an interview with Hunter Biden, and he said it got so bad that he thought a piece of Parmesan was crack, and he smoked it.
Yeah, I mean, like, was it him? Like, they talking about this white girl, whoever this person is. Shit, it could have been him straight up. Look, are we surprised to find cocaine in a white person's establishment? No. Again, like that's unfortunately how they say crack be in the hood. Cocaine be in all of these. If anybody saw Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio and all that shit was real. They letting you know this is how how these people on Wall Street, how all of them are. And yes, with the White House, I think that the Pentagon and Fort Knox are like the most secure buildings, in America. Probably Pentagon and Fort Knox more so than the damn White House. But certainly White House, like those are the top three for sure. And so let's be very clear. If the White House is one of the top three most secure locations in this country, and cocaine somehow got in there, what does that say, people? They wanted somebody wanted that shit in.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wanted to get that shit in there. And somebody let it go past security. They got to go through a whole screening. This ain't just I've used to work right around the corner from the White House in DC. You have to go through a lot to get into that building, especially if you're just happen to be a guest. They put you on a 6-month to year waiting list to even get into that building. So for somebody to bring some cocaine up in there, again, they let it in because they wanted it in, plain and simple. But again, this is not a surprise. Most of these white establishments have cocaine, have a whole bunch of stuff happening. And all we got to do is pay attention. All you got to do is look at some of these people when they talk on TV and see that most of them are coked out on something. Which they love to accuse us of all being on something, but they don't show when they're on stuff, right? They don't show when these things are happening. That's why I'm glad you brought this topic up, because this stuff happens all the time. This stuff is this is all over white America. That's their drug. As much as they say crack is black people, cocaine is their drug. And what is cocaine? What is crack? Aren't they correlated with each other? Oh, okay, right. So anyway, but one's more carries more penalties, and one can get you jail. And stop it, right? We all know what that narrative is about. And again, if that shit was in the White House, trust me, they let that shit get in there, because you gotta go through, again, metal detect. Your car gets screened. They do the window, the mirror check under the car to check for bombs. They do a whole bunch of stuff before you can enter that building. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Hunter Biden him damn self.
Dang, man. I may have to change his name. It may not be Smoking Joe. It might be Snorting Joe. Snorting Joe. Snorting Joe. Like M-Rock was saying, you got to go through, like, a person like me, even if I waited on that waiting list or whatever the case may be, I'm not getting into the White House with drugs. At the end of the day, the person who had the drugs had to be somebody higher up.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be. There's no way just a maid, even if you work for the White House. Like, you ain't walking into the White House as no normal Joe and getting in there with no cocaine. You got to be somebody like the president, the vice president, somebody higher up, where they go, yo, you shouldn't have that. What you say? Nothing, whatever.
Right.
They just bypass it, right? So, once again, I always like to say, keep the same energy. I ain't hearing nothing about this on no news. But if it was the other white guy that don't like us neither, and it was Trump, it will be all over the news. Democrats will all be all on it, saying, oh my gosh, how could Trump let cocaine in the White House? How could he? There wouldn't even be no narrative of, hey, maybe it is Parmesan. No, it's not Parmesan. It's straight cocaine. He did it. That's what it is. This is there, and we all will jump. Well, most people would jump on it and be like, "Oh my gosh, girl, you hear Trump has cocaine in the White House?" Well, I heard they always have stuff like that. No, but Trump had it. He put it in there. This is why we need to impeach him. But Joe don't talk to nobody. He don't come out and speak on anything that's going on, the derailment of trains, all the shootings that were under his name. He don't talk about nothing. And then all his stuff just gets swept under a rug. Or in this case, under a nose.
Yeah, man, it's just crazy because, just like you said, it's one of the most secure buildings in our nation. So whoever had the cocaine in there, it's like sneaking contraband in jail. Mm-hmm. You face charges. So if it was somebody higher up, then they should be facing jail time for bringing that. But you're not even hearing the conversation. And I'm pretty sure they got cameras. They got, like you said, the workers that screened. They know who brought it in. So if this was found, they know who brought the cocaine in. But they're not telling us who this culprit was. They're saying that it was a white substance. They're not even admitting that it was cocaine.
Oh, I got one more thing. And if it is Joe Biden's son, if you can't control your son in the White House, how could you control a country?
I don't know.
You can't.
He can't control himself finding his way to the podium. He saluted the wrong dude and walked past the podium. Then he tripped and fell leaving. Then he hit his head on the plane when he landed. I'm like, then the next week he was talking about Russia was at war with Al Qaeda, confusing the Ukraine war with the Middle East. This guy, man, he's delusional. He ain't got it no more. And his son is in this scandal because he was forcing the Chinese people to take money, talking about the Bidens will deliver this and the Bidens will deliver that. He's not talking about himself. He's talking about him and his family. So I think that everybody's corrupt, man. The corruption in this government is ridiculous. This shit is like, it's a joke. It is literally a joke. Like, if you pay attention to politics, this shit is funny as hell. And that's why people like Tucker Carlson could sit there and tell jokes about what's going on, and it'd be one of the top shows in the world because you're telling the truth. But at the same time, it's so fucked up that you receiving the news, but in a funny way. And I think that's why Dave Chappelle is so much of the big comedian that he is in the black community, is because he talk about shit that nobody else could talk about. And it sheds a light on it, but at the same time gives us that comedic relief.
For everybody watching the show, if you watch CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News, whatever political platform that you may watch, listen to what they're saying. They never, ever, ever answer the question that is asked. Listen, people, to what they are telling you and what they are saying and what they are not saying as well. Plain and simple, right? That, like you said, it's corrupt as hell. And Biden, we all know the president is just a pawn, just a front that they put out there. The real control is with these governors and with that's why you see Florida and Texas doing what the hell they doing. Those states operate on their own constitutions. They do not have to answer to Joseph Biden or Kamala Harris. They only answer to the Supreme Court. That's why they're able to do what they are doing. Period. And that's why that's why a lot of them presidents, they start, picking and choosing who can be in the Supreme Court. There's a reason for all of that shit. Like, people have to understand that and look at the full scope of everything that's happening and not just constantly look at Biden and see what he's doing. Yeah, granted, yes, you are the face, so to speak, right? But they're all playing, even Trump. But to y'all's point though, with Trump, he didn't want to be but that's why they fear him too, because he don't want to. He knows that's a pawn. No, y'all not just gonna make me out as a pawn. Now that again, he's also a bigot and all of that, and the sexist and all that stuff too. But that's really what it is. It's corrupt as hell. And just listen to these politicians, They never listen to Dr. Fauci during COVID. Did he ever say where COVID came from? What was the actual source other than from China? Normally, when there's a virus that happens or something, it came from a monkey or a cat or something. Something done happened. They scratched somebody or something. There's something that happened. That movie Outbreak back in the night. There's something that happens, right? He can never answer the question and say, where was the source? Where did this come from? What?
But wear a mask.
Listen to these people, Listen to what they telling y'all and what they're not saying. I'm telling you, it's crazy, yo. Crazy.
Yes, sir, man. Sleepy Joe. I don't know, man. This presidential Trump might be going to jail for all these sexual assaults,
and still might win the presidency.
and Biden's numbers is in the trash
for assaulting women and all of that stuff. And women will still go out there and vote, and men will still go out there and vote for this man in jail. Unbelievable. But that's America for you.
So I don't know. I read a few weeks ago, Dr. Cornel West said he was running for president.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a real thing? Is he serious? Is that I know where my vote is going. So let's study up on Dr. Cornel West. Let's see what his bid is. But I already know where my vote's going. It's going with the doctor. He's running as an independent. So let's figure this out.
I heard one of the Kennedy kids is too.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the great grands or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think this is the first year that an independent has a very good chance of winning the presidency.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Democrats and the Republicans, they just think that they got everything on lock.
Everybody getting hip to the bullshit now, and it's coming around. Again, we're not there yet, but it's coming around that everybody's getting hip to the bullshit, man.
All right, let's get some shout outs before we get up out of here.
Shout out to you, brothers. You guys are dope. Get it? Dope.
All right.
But shout out to you, brothers, coming on here, chopping it up, doing it for another Wednesday. I believe in y'all. Y'all are doing some great things. Keep spreading the message that you guys are spreading, letting the world know what they need to know and be awake. And that's it. That's my shout out to the brothers that are on here. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, always shout out to PolitiKan. Greatly appreciate y'all for having myself on this platform. Shout out to you guys as well. It's always great to come on here and speak, voice our opinions, but also listen to other opinions as well. Again, just piggybacking off of that last topic, man. People just pay attention. Let's, again, if you Black, please do not visit Florida right now. Don't spend your money down there. That man is insane. That Governor DeSantis, whatever his name, people like that are in Texas. Don't go down there either. New Orleans, they trying to enslave people down there. Look, just pay attention to what's going on. Read. Again, people say, "Oh, don't watch TV." You can watch these things, right? But formulate your own opinion, right? Again, listen to what they are telling you, and then also what they are not telling you as well. And then that way you could come up with your own opinion. But yeah, hopefully, this next presidency is the year of the independent, and we start moving towards that. It's time to get away from Democrats and Republicans, those parties, and look outside the box. And I think, like I said, we're not there yet, but slowly but surely we are going to get there. But this is why, they're suppressing votes, and this is why, they're, with affirmative action at Supreme Court. All of these things are coming into place for a reason, because white people, especially, they see the threat happening. They see the change. They see the curve. They see the momentum and where it's going. And so they got to act. And the way that they act is putting stuff in law. That's why they get in these type of positions, because they know that then they can create the laws and change and manipulate and do all those things. And that's why they try to keep us out of those positions, right? So we have to understand that, and like I said, just read up, and pay attention to, into what's going on, all the Essence Festival stuff that happened and all that stuff. It's cool, give people a chance to have fun, have a good time. But at the same time, their plan to exterminate us people is still not vanquished. They have tried for decades and centuries now, and they're still going to keep trying. They're just going to find new ways to do it. They're just going to try to keep innovating and find new ways to take us out, new ways to keep us out of, keep us from having a seat at the table. So we have to understand that, and listen up and read and pay attention to what's going on. All that stay woke stuff, whatever. Just pay attention. Pay attention. Have an attention span of more than 30 seconds, and pay attention to what's going on out here, and listen and read. That's my message.
Definitely. So I believe in the Constitution, it reads that black people are what 3/5 of a man? 3/5 of a person. So we're in America, we're not even counted as a full person. And then you got to understand that we weren't granted freedom. We were granted access to freedom. So we have access to freedom in America. We were never essentially set free. So did slavery ever end? Or did we get granted temporary freedom or access to freedom? And once you break these laws, this is why you get 30 years and Brandon get 3. And he get probation. He get counseling. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's built this way, because it's systematic. And I think that if Ronnie was on here, he would definitely say everything that we go through is systematic. But at the same time, we have to know and understand that and strategize based upon these facts. And the strategy that will ever get equality in America is just something that it's a dead strategy. We'll never win from it. So let's stop trying to get equality from America. America is a corporation. Let's use OPM to get ourselves in the positions that we need to be. And let's be independent and actually learn the system that we're in. The Africans come over here, learn the system. The Asians come over here, learn the system. But the blacks in America live in the system, live off the system, but don't even understand the system that we live in. Now, as far as trying to get people to wake up, I live off this creed, man. A man convinced against his will is of the same mind state. Meaning that I don't try to get anybody to do anything with me, for me, in conjunction with me, if they in the mind state that I don't want to do this shit. So I'm only coming for the brothers and the sisters and the motherfuckers that want the knowledge and the information. If you don't, you could keep pushing, you could scroll, you could turn it off. But as far as the motherfuckers that understand what we up against and want to do something to, make the change, let's get it, man. I don't know what you do with your life, but I'm going to get to it, man. PolitiKan the podcast. We out.